Let's quickly talk about some ways that we can enhance our workflow when doing dimensioning. There's a Rapid Dimension Selector that can auto-space dimensions based on what you have set in your document properties. That creates an efficient way to place dimensions off the drawing view. There's also the Dimension Palette. It's a little button that sneakily pops up when you place a dimension. You can actually expand that, and it shows you common dimension properties. It lets you completely customize that note or annotation and give you a nice visual graphic on where things are going to live. Let's show it off real quick. Again, I'm just going to breeze through some of this stuff. Let's open up this again. Let's delete that dimension. I'm going to do a smart dimension. I'm going to grab that. And now look at my mouse. I have selectors. So I can say, hey, space it out organically from my top or space out organically from my bottom view. And when you're dealing with radii, you have even more control. So if I grab that, that's not happy with that. If I grab that, note that I have 4 quadrants that I can choose to select. So really great for just cleanly placing down dimensions without having to kind of artistically fumble and get it in there. You may still have to if you're dealing with a really busy drawing, but that's just one way you can really make your life a little better. Then beyond that, we've got the dimension palette. So when I place this dimension down, note that I have a window that popped up. And when you move your mouse away, it likes to disappear on you. But there's another way that we can access that. It's just to show you, if I put this dimension down, I don't move my mouse, I get that button that pops up, that little pop-up. I drag my mouse to it, I get this dimension palette. I can do a ton of stuff within here. But if I need to reference it again, if I just click on that dimension, it'll re-highlight over here. If I, So what I want to show off is I can go through different dimension types. So I can set like a limit tolerance, and I can set some values here. We'll say a plus or minus 0.05, and then now I have a limit tolerance. I didn't have to go through this window over here, but a lot of the same information is in this left-hand side. Beyond that, I can make an inspection. I can add parentheses for reference. I can set the justification of it. I have a ton of stuff that I can do. I can even see recent changes that have been done to it through some history if I'm using this palette window, and so on and so forth. I've got this tolerance set up. Now, my typical workflow would be, okay, well, now I have to set this to be plus or minus 5, and this to be plus or minus 5, all that stuff, and it's a bit tedious and time-consuming. If you weren't already aware, there is a format painter. Now, your mindset may be just thinking like, oh yeah, I know. It's used to copy annotation styles, like your font style, your size. If you got something bold, use format painter to bring it over and copy it. But if you're looking at the preview that's in my SOLIDWORKS, that also works for your tolerance information. Any sort of properties that you have linked up to that dimension can be copied and referenced. So I've got a plus or minus on that. Let's go ahead and format paint this. So format painter, let's move that over here. Now I've got a plus or minus there, got a plus or minus down there, and down there as well, without having to go through and fumble through these settings and change my dimension palette in each individual one. Just format paint and set it all around. If you find yourself clicking on each one, I would argue maybe you should put your tolerance down here, but it could definitely save you a lot of time if you need to apply a tolerance for multiple dimensions. And then lastly, just quickly to show off, if I hover over a radially assigned dimension, I've got a diameter here, I can go through and I can say display as radius. And I'm just clicking on it. I get this context window that pops up. I can say display as radius, display as diameter, display as linear dimension. And then the last option is that dimension window. I can get that to pop up, and I see that there. And it's a SOLIDWORKS tool, so it gives you 3 or 4 different ways to do the same stuff. So if you right click, you get a lot of the same functionality as well right up here.